Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. We're going to hear for a Sabbath class. Just a quick little lesson today. We won't be before you long. We're going to be talking about nothing new under the sun. I'm your brother Azrael,
Brother Donald.
right? And we're going to get into this lesson, right? So without further ado, we're going to talk about nothing new under the sun. What do I mean by that? I mean that the place that we're living in, the times that we're in, it's nothing new. You might hear some people come up with new inventions. Hey, nothing new is under the sun, so how can it be a new invention? Right? They have hieroglyphs out there right now with this that have carved in stone helicopters. So there's nothing new under the sun. Who's to tell? Who knows what was going on in the earth before the flood? They could have been more technological advance, I probably said that wrong, than us, you know what I'm saying, before the flood. So nothing new is under the sun. So today what I want to do is just compare today, right, with the days of old, with the days, you know what I'm saying, before Christ and when Christ was on the earth, to show you that we are literally living in the Bible, in the book of life, right? So let's get the first one, in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9.
Right.
The thing that has been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
There's nothing new under the sun. And I like to say, whenever I put this on my story or if I put it as a caption, I like to say SON, because, hey, we're all under the son of God. And there's nothing new under him because he created everything, right? So spiritually, there's nothing new under the sun. And physically, there's nothing new under that sun that shows up every day. We might have different seasons, but that sun show up every day. It does its job, right? And there's nothing new underneath it. That sun has seen everything on repeat. He's seen the first time people wore bell bottoms, and he's seen when bell bottoms came back in style, right? Let's get the next one, Isaiah 49 and 23. And we can read about a lot of the curses that we're in today in Deuteronomy 28. But, you know what I'm saying, those curses didn't go away. They're still here. We're still living in those curses from Deuteronomy 28. This is how they were written on us for a sign and a wonder. So something that was written thousands of years ago, we can look at those same signs and say there's nothing new under the sun. And we can see that we're living in the days of the Bible. Keep reading.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 49 and verse 23.
Right.
And kings shall be thy nursing fathers.
Right.
And their queens shall be their nursing mothers.
So Israelites like to go to this passage all the time when we want to read the judgment of all the nations. Not just white people, but all the nations that had us in captivity, all the nations that had us to serve them. We like to go here and read it to them so that they know what's coming to them. So read that from the top one more time.
Verse 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers.
Now, hey, look, it's saying this stuff because he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword shall be killed with the sword. He that used to have nursing fathers will be a nursing father. And he that used to have nursing mothers will be a nursing mother. So how can we relate this to what's going on today, right? If you go to any nursing home, right, that has nursing moms and nursing fathers, which we would call CNA, nurses. You go to a nursing home, it's filled with what? So-called white people. It is. Because they're the ones that can afford it. Their Social Security, their money from their family can put them in nursing homes or assisted living. And who's the staff? The staff is no other than Jake and Eve. They're the ones that got to clean the beds. They're the ones that got to nurse these people, take them on walks, have pointless conversations with them, feed them their food. We're the nursing moms and we're the nursing fathers till this day. So who's the security? Jake. Jake's the security. So here we have slavery still existing. The nursing moms and the nursing fathers. You got
so lucky, yeah. I was at work last week, and there was Eve. She came up, right, a so-called black woman, and she was picking up something. She was a caregiver. She was picking up something for her. I guess the person she was giving care to. And she pulled up. She was a little upset because the thing that she was supposed to be picking up was supposed to be already assembled. And so my manager kind of came back there and was kind of asking her, no, you didn't have ordered to be assembled. You get it in the box, and that it is what it is. And she was like, no, it says right here it's supposed to be assembled. And when he walked away, she kind of came up to me on the side and was like, if he knew that the person that I'm picking this up for was white, talking about the person she's giving care to, he would have assembled it with no question. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of the world we live in today.
Right, man. They expect us to do so much for them, right? They expect us to serve. Why did they bring us over to this land in the first place? To serve. That ideology has not changed in the young and in the old. When they see us, they expect us to be working hard. They tell us what? I work hard for this. You can work hard too. You're in your predicament because you don't work hard. They expect us to serve. They don't expect judgment. They don't expect what we actually deserve. They don't expect us to have those things. They expect us to work and keep working and keep working, right? And then they maybe might respect us when we're 80 years old and we finally get to retire, right? Slavery. All right, so let's get this. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse number 7.
Read.
I have seen servants upon horses,
Right,
and princes walking as servants upon the
so
earth.
we're living in the days of the Bible. And I, right, as a servant of God, and all my brothers and sisters who are servants of God, which we call prophets as well, we see what? We see kings walking, and we see the scum of the earth riding these horses, right? A lot of time, I got a lot of friends I got a lot of Jake that's Uber. We got Uber Eats, Jake coming to your house delivering your groceries, right? They in the back, they drunk, all the Edomites and wicked Ishmaelites and Elamites. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? We're still the ones on foot. We're still the ones You see the transportation buses, it's us. We the ones driving the school buses.
It's lucky, and it grieves my heart all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because when I be riding through the town, riding through the city, the only people I see on them high horses, and when I say high horses, I mean them Ford F-150s, right? Them
Right.
Ram 2500s, right?
With the lift kit.
Right? I see servants on horses. And it's crazy because it'd be the youngest Edomites in these horses, right? And a lot of Jake don't really even pay it attention, right? They sneak it under. We were talking about the other day. A lot of Jakes want these Jordans, and we go through hell and high water to keep them clean, not knowing that these Edomites rocking these $200 work boots, right? We thinking, oh, they just got them work boots on. No, them boots cost more than your J's, right? Just like a lot of these Jakes be passing up on seeing all these white boys in these trucks, not knowing that these trucks are pretty expensive. They probably cost more than your 2003 foreign car that you try to keep running every week.
It costs more. They horses, right? We see kings on foot, and we see these heathen on horses, right? We see servants on horses, and they horses, guess what? Cost more than your house. Because what do? They get the windows tinted.
It's already a $50,000 car.
Right.
Truck.
Get the windows tinted, lift kit, leveling kit,
straight pipe,
stereo system, right? We see what? Servants on horses today. Nothing is new under the sun. We're still living in oppression.
Ain't no way you should see a 19-year-old Edomite in a $60,000 truck, and you see a 60-year-old Jake asking for change at a gas station. It's backwards. We see servants on horses,
right,
and princes and kings walking the earth,
right,
asking for change.
Me and Ak was watching the video, and in the video, the dude was going around with people that had expensive cars, and the dude was asking people what they did for a living when he saw an expensive car. Right, one of the people he went up to was a young Edomite man, probably in his 20s. He said, "Hey, what do you do for a living? How you got this G-Wagon?" This man said, "Oh, my dad didn't like the color, so he gave it to me."
Folly, man.
That's folly. That's the world that we're living in. Meanwhile, Jake is still reaping the curses because nothing's new under the sun, and we're going to be under these curses till the Son of Man comes back. Jake is still under these curses, sharing a car. Issachar is sharing cars with 5 people.
7 people got a 5-seater.
Gotta wait till your brother come home so you can take the car to the grocery store. Then you gotta wait for your mom to come home so you can take the car to the pool because the kids want to go to the pool. Then you gotta wait for them to have fun at the pool and come back so you can, you know what I'm saying? We struggling.
And most of the time you see Jake driving a car at college, right? It's usually a small little car with a pink fuzzy steering wheel because it's his girl's car, not his, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But all praises to the Most High God. Abanawa Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. All of these so-called horses nowadays are gonna burn up, and we're gonna have noble steeds in the kingdom.
Right. We gonna have actual horses.
Actual horses, right?
And they gonna be the ones taking my horse to the barn.
Lord willing, all of them are gonna be pure and white as snow.
And that's the faith and the patience of the saints. But let's move on. Ecclesiastes 3 and 15.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 15. That which has been is now.
That which has been is now. So everything that happened before is happening right now. Right? We got golds in our mouth. Everybody knows the precept. Our cheeks are rosy with jewels. Right? Everything that has been is happening right now. The stuff that happened to our forefathers and our foremothers, guess what? It's happening to the kids. It might be a replacement theology in there when they replace the field with the work field, or they replace cotton with cash. But guess what? Nothing is new under the sun. It's still the same ideology from generation to generation. Right? Keep reading.
And that which is to be had, no. Salakia. And that which is to be had already, Salakia.
Read from the top.
That which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been. And God required that which is past.
Right. He required which is past. What is that? When we used to be in rulership, guess what? It's got to come back to pass. We got to be back on top, because who got the blessing? Esau got the blessing, but then he sold it to us. So who got the blessing? Who got next? It's us. He's requiring all those things of old, even tribulation. He's requiring tribulation. Even trouble.
Even the rape, robbery, and murder that they worked so hard to make us forget. He requires that to come back to your former knowledge. A lot of Jake nowadays, a lot of so-called black men and women nowadays, when a new video, movie, or TV show comes out that is showing us the rape, robbery, and murder of our people, reminding us what we've been through. A lot of Jake nowadays don't even want to view it.
Right.
I don't want to be traumatized with that. They need to stop putting that in our face. You know what I'm saying? They're doing you a favor, letting you know that you should never forget what happened. Just like today. Today is so-called 9/11. They never let you forget what happened on 9/11, because every 9/11, they always be posting pictures, posting videos, and all of that stuff. And you don't say nothing about, we don't want to be traumatized with that. You a so-called black man living in America talking about some pray for 9/11, pray for our country, right? What about pray for slavery? Pray for your ancestors that you don't care nothing about.
Right. And a lot of people will say, hey, just let it go. It's in the past.
But the Lord requires the past.
Right.
We just read that.
Right. So you know what I'm saying? When you say let it go, and you just because you don't see systematic oppression, because you don't see the effects of slavery today, and you don't know that yourself as a slave, you say let it go. Let's forgive and forget. But guess what? That would be so disrespectful if you was in the face of your ancestors who were being put through those slave tactics.
Right. You talking about let's just forgive them for this, that, and the third, right? And you thinking you making your ancestors mad. Your ancestors would look at you and they would disown you.
No, they would kill you.
They would do off the face of the earth with you. If you were sitting there, right, and your ancestor just got raped, right? And let's fast forward 2 days, you telling your ancestors that just got raped, we just need to forget about it and hold hands and everybody can be equal, this, that, and the third, right? They're going to look at you sideways. They're going to look at you crazy.
Not every slave master's terrible, right?
I know he raped me, but...
And I always tell people this too, you know, the slave ships, not boats, but the slave ships, the big ships, that was a terrible experience. It wasn't a cruise ship over here. When you got people butt naked, planking on, you know, when everybody used to plank, it was a challenge. Can you imagine 3 people laying on top of you like that? You don't know if they big, small. They throwing up because of exhaustion. They using the bathroom. Women having periods. You know what I'm saying? It's filthy and hot in there. They come down, get whoever they want. take them off to the top of the ship because them Edomites are drunk and they throw them off the ship for fun, right? And then when they dock, they get here just to see a Jake like you say what? Forgive and forget. It's not that bad.
It's not that, right? And it was crazy is, like the brother was going into, a lot of so-called black people, we got a fear of claustrophobia. And they wasn't paying none of that no mind. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the people that was freaking out because they're afraid of tight spaces. Bro.
Right, and now they can't move because they got 5 people on top of them.
Claustrophobia is a real thing like depression.
They freaking
out. No folly, but
freaking out. They passing out, right? They hearts failing them. Some of them probably getting seasick.
The little boy got claustrophobia. He can't move.
He can't move because there's a man my dad's size laying on top of him.
He's screaming, squirming.
Then the man that's my dad's size is trying his best not to put his weight on him, but he can't really help it because somebody's on top of him. Slavery was not fun. Our people got to understand that they owe us. I don't care how much that they might think that they're giving us in opportunities. An opportunity is not giving us what's owed to us. An opportunity is a cop-out. It's a bailout. An opportunity? No, we need something in our hand.
And then so-called Edomites, bro, they're so delirious, bro, to the point where they think they put in all the work to get where they at, right? We was watching a TV show called Them, and the white lady had the nerve to say, our forefathers built this city, right? Our forefathers built this, that, and the third. And I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? Y'all ain't do nothing but sit back and drink lemonade, tell us to do everything. But it's crazy because they take on all of that labor as if they did it.
We're going to get to that too. Let's move on though. 1 Maccabees 11 and 42. 1 Maccabees 11 and 42 reads what?
This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 11 and verse 42.
Right.
So Demetrius sent unto Jonathan saying.
Right, so there's a King Demetrius in Antioch, right? And that's Rome. And then there's Jonathan, who you could say is a ruler or who you could say has much influence over the Jews. Right, read.
Saying, I will not only do this for thee and thy people, but I will greatly honor thee and thy nation if opportunity serve.
Right, so, hey, look, the Jews was having a little problem and the Romans was having a little problem. And in Rome, there was a great insurrection where the people was kind of trying to overthrow the government and kill the king. And for the Jews, the Greeks was, mastering us. The Greeks was telling us we couldn't be Jews no more. They was taking our Sabbaths away. So guess what? They had a mutual agreement. So Jonathan, the man that was renowned amongst the Jews, he said to the king of Antioch, he said, guess what? We're going to help you out if you help us out. Scratch our back and we'll scratch your back. So this right here is Demetrius, the king of Antioch of the Romans, saying, guess what? I'll surely do all these things that you ask if you do this. All right, so read. You had a precept?
No.
All right, so read, jump to 44.
Verse 44. Upon this, Jonathan sent him and 3,000 strong men.
Right, so Jonathan, the king of the Jews, said, guess what? If you help us out, I'm going to send you 3,000 strong men. Hey, and there's no strong man like the Israelite man. There's no army that can put to flight an Israelite army. So he sent 3,000 of those men, trained with shield and buckler, the arrow, right, over to help the Romans, because the Romans knew that, hey, they knew they needed our help. Because guess what? When we go to a job, we're willing to die valiantly. We don't care about this life, right? We understand why we do things and who we do them for. And we know who has our back, and we know the angels cover us. So Jonathan got 3,000 men and sent them over there to help him out, right? Keep reading.
Unto Antioch, and when they came to the king was very glad of their coming.
The king was what?
Very glad of their coming.
So guess what? Nowadays we have stuff like, so let's take it slow. So now we have Jews, right, coming from Jerusalem, placing Israel, going to what? Antioch. We know in Antioch in the New Testament that they had centurions. So this is why I always tell people, you got to read the Apocrypha if you want to understand what's going on in the New Testament. Because now Cornelius is not a Roman. He's an Italian Roman soldier. Now that we have the common sense that the Italian band started with this agreement. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. So read that verse one more time, 44.
Upon this, Jonathan sent him 3,000 strong men.
3,000 strong men of Israel, right?
Unto Antioch.
This is how soldiers got to Antioch. that were Israelites. Read.
And when they came to the king was very glad of their coming.
Right. They welcomed us with open arms. Here are the soldiers that we've been needing this whole time. Right. And so when we got over here, who did they allow to come into the military? Right? Jake. We talking about civil wars. We talking about World War I, World War II. Right? Jake is fighting in the military because they know they need us. Even to this day, like I said, nothing is new under the sun. Who is filling up our military? Jake is filling up our military, and a lot of that is due to what? The benefits.
The whips and the chains,
right?
Man.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours, just like the Bible.
You get the so-called young black man, right? You say, hey, you come to the military, get you a brand new Dodge 2020 Charger, right? Get you some golds in your mouth and some chains.
You get you a house, you get you a wife, you get you some babies now,
some strong drink,
right?
Some wine, get drunk every day,
right? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Come fight in the American Babylonian army, and I'm gonna make sure that your life is comfortable.
And here's the ignorance of our people, right? We don't even weigh the option of what are they really asking me to do? Because when all hell breaks loose, when stuff hits the fan, and they say, hey, it's time to ship you to Afghanistan to fight for us and die for us, now Jake wants to get nervous, right? Everything was all fine and dandy when you was whipping that Charger, right?
Right.
You know, getting drunk every day.
Blasting music.
But when you get that letter in the mail like, hey, we need you. It's time. You signed your life away. I don't know if you know or not, but you need to come and die for our country.
Basic training was not just fun and games. It wasn't a PE class. You was actually training to save your life and to save other people's lives. And now you got to put in that. Let's go to 47. Skip to 47.
Verse 47. Then the king called to the Jews for help,
right?
Who came unto him all at once,
right?
And dispersing themselves.
The king of Antioch, the Romans, he called to the Jews. Keep reading.
Through the city, slew that day in the city to the number of 100,000.
So guess what? They got called, just like he talked about. And you know the commercial that used to say, "Many are called, few are chosen." Right? For the military. They got called, they was chosen, and they did their thing. The Most High God was on their side, and they killed what did it say? How many men?
100,000.
They killed 100,000 men. 3,000 killed 100,000 men. So keep reading.
Also, they set fire on the city and got many spoils that day.
Hey, nothing is new under the sun. When we was helping out in the Civil War, we was killing both. You white, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill you too. I don't care. Y'all shouldn't have put a gun in my hand. And that's what they was doing. They was taking the spoils of the city too. They said, we gonna set this place afire. Right? We the Israelites. We've been waiting on this moment. Right? Go to 47.
That was 47.
All right, go to 50.
Verse 50. Grant us peace and let the Jews cease from assaulting us and the city.
Right. That was verse 50?
Yeah.
Keep reading.
With that they cast away their weapons and made peace.
Right.
And the Jews were honored in the sight of the king.
Right, the Jews were honored in the sight of the king. Keep reading.
And in the sight of all that were in his realm.
Right, so everybody knew about this Italian band. This band of soldiers that went to Italy to help them. They all knew about that, the Israelites, the Jews, right? Keep reading.
And they returned to Jerusalem.
They returned where?
They returned to Jerusalem.
They returned where?
They returned to Jerusalem.
They returned to Jerusalem. Where was Cornelius from?
Let me get that.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. It's coming up next. You get it?
No. It's something that's not on there.
Oh, my bad.
Watch this.
He was from Caesarea.
Watch this.
All right, read that. But I'm gonna finish it. It says
read that. Return to Jerusalem.
And they returned to Jerusalem, having great spoils. So guess what? They was taken care of.
They returned to Jerusalem. Check this out. This is a New Testament. This is book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 5, to give you context of what's going on in Acts. Picking up from what the brother's bringing out. This is book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 5.
Right.
And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men.
Right. Who was the devout men? These men that were sent, that are honored in the sight of the king.
Out of every nation under the heaven.
Right. So let's go to Acts 10 and 1. Acts 10 and 1.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse number 1.
Nothing is new under the sun. We got Roman centurions walking amongst us today.
And it reads,
A lot of our parents was Roman centurions, Babylonian centurions.
there was a certain man in Caesarea.
Caesarea is an island, or it's off the coast of Israel. He was living in Israel. Keep reading.
Called Cornelius.
Cornelius. So was he an Edomite, right? Was he a so-called white man, or was he an Israelite? After reading the context of 1 Maccabees chapter 11. Keep reading.
A centurion
A soldier
of the band called the Italian man.
called the Italian band. There was a band of people that Jonathan got together and sent to Italy to help them. You scratch your back, we scratch your back, I'll scratch yours, right? And he said, and here it says what? In verse 50, Salakia. In verse 51, at the end it says, they returned to Jerusalem having great spoils. They returned back home, right?
All his house.
Salakia, read that one more time.
A devout man and one that feared God with all his house, right? So just like we read for context in Acts chapter 2, in Jerusalem there was dwelling what? Devout men, right? These were Israelites called devout men of the Most High. And so when you come to Acts 10 and it says that Cornelius was a devout man, we already know the context in chapter 2 was talking about Israelites.
Right. Read Acts 10 and 22 to further that point.
This is the book of Acts chapter 10 and verse 22. And they said Cornelius, the centurion, a just man.
A just man. Read.
And one that feareth God.
One that feareth God. We know that the Israelites fear God. Read.
And a good report among all the nation of the Jews.
Of the Jews. It didn't say a good report of all the nations of all these other nations. The Jews ain't gonna respect you unless you a Jew. They not. The Jews wasn't even buddy with the Gentiles. Our brothers and sisters who went off and became Gentiles, we wasn't even buddy with them. So what makes you think that they're going to have respect on somebody that's not one of them? It said he had respect amongst them. Read that one more time.
The centurion, a just man, and one that feared God, and had a good report among all the nation of the Jews.
Right, he had a good report amongst all the Jews. He was that soldier he was that Fulbright colonel that came back and everybody was glad to see and said, hey, how was that? How was that battle? I heard it was tough. How many people did you kill?
Not only that, we got to understand that the Jews weren't susceptible to just accepting or saying or crediting anybody. Right. They didn't even want to credit Christ. So to say that they credited Cornelius to mean that he was a devout man for real and he knew the law.
Right.
And he was an Israelite.
And he was a Jew at that.
Right. They're not going to accept you if you're not no Jew.
They wasn't accepting the Galatians, the Ephesians. They wasn't accepting the Philippians, the Samaritans. You had to be a Jew for the Jews to have a good rapport.
Peter wouldn't even sit next to somebody that wasn't a Jew.
Right. So this is how we know, sidebar, that Cornelius was a what? And from the Italian band, a Roman centurion, right, that went to help out Antioch, right? So let's keep reading. Nothing is new under the sun. Revelation 11 and 8.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse number 8. And it reads, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt.
Right, we're walking amongst the dead right now, and we're in spiritual Sodom and Egypt. So let's prove how today is like Sodom and Gomorrah. There was a city called Sodom and Gomorrah, and there was 5 cities that was into wickedness. That was physical. And now we're living in that place all over again. Nothing new under the sun. There was a empire called Egypt, and now we're in that empire all over again. Right? So let's get some go to Exodus 1 and 13.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1.
We're going to prove that we're in Egypt, and we're going to prove that we're in Sodom. Right? We're going to deal with both accordingly. We're going to start with Egypt first.
And
right?
Verse 13.
Read.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
With rigor. We're serving with rigor till this day. We're the ones in the moving trucks. We're the ones putting up houses, building houses. And look, Issachar makes 4 houses at a time. They make 4 houses at a time. I rode through a neighborhood and saw them, and all 4 houses were at the same level. And they just next day all the houses at a different level. They work at 4 houses at a time with rigor. Sign a contract, they gotta get it done. Right? We're the ones lifting heavy furniture. We're the ones doing construction work. We're the ones doing landscape. We're the ones working with rigor here while everybody else got remote jobs. While everybody else is working from a desk, get to talk about sports, take 15 smoke breaks, right? We're the ones working with rigor. Read. That was the end of 13? All right, go to Exodus 5 and 7.
Exodus 5 and verse 7.
Right.
Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick as
look.
here before.
We had pissed off the Pharaoh, and he said he wanted to make our work harder. So he said he was no longer gonna give us straw, but we're gonna have to pick up sand. We're gonna have to get mud. Right? Read.
Let them go and gather straw for themselves.
Right.
And the tale of the bricks which they did make hereto, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore thy cry saying.
Right. Go to verse 11.
Verse 11. Go ye, get you straw where ye can find it.
They told the Israelites, go get the straw where you can find it. We're no longer giving you the straw. Make do. Keep reading.
Ye not aught of your work shall be diminished.
Right.
Not aught.
Right. And we want everything to be done in the same manner of when we was giving you this material. Keep reading.
So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt.
So the Israelites got busy. They got to working. They said, hey, look, we got to wake up a little earlier in the morning now to get the job done. We got to work overtime to get the job done. Keep reading.
To gather stubble instead of straw.
Right. So my point here is this.
And that's like in the world too. You can contest to this too. When you do these hard, when you do these hard laborious jobs, right? They don't even give you tools.
Right.
They say, hey, if you want this job, you're going to have to get your own tools, man.
You're going to have to buy your own uniform.
Right.
It's got to come out your check.
And 9 times out of 10, you don't got no job. So you're like, dang, man, I got to get my own tools with no check, with no sign-on bonus or anything, bro.
You can't even give me a dolly.
You know what I'm saying? You got to get your own tools. Just like back in the day, they said, hey, man, you got to get your own straw. And, and it better be efficient.
And now you got to wake up extra early just to, you know what I'm saying, get all that nonsense out the way so you can actually do the job. And then once you finish the job, you got to, you know what I'm saying? We gathering our own straw. And because we're doing that, I could bring up Issachar again. These houses that's being built right now are cheap. They're cheap houses. They're not built the same no more. Because guess what? They're not getting funded like they should. So and the time has been the same. It's not changing. They're not getting a longer time to change it. So guess what? They got to build these houses up fast with no straw. Nothing is new under the sun. We're still living in Egypt, working in rigor, right? So let's move on to Sodom. How we're in spiritual Sodom, right? Let's get Leviticus 19:29 first. When you get Leviticus 19:29, I'm gonna pull up Romans 1 and 26.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29.
Read.
Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Read.
To cause her to be a whore.
But we have OnlyFans. But we got people selling their body at strip clubs. Right? We're in Sodom. Keep reading.
Lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness.
Right. We're in a land full of wickedness. Right? So let's get, what is this? What did I say?
And let's OnlyFans catch on, and everybody wants an OnlyFans. Let's all these TikTok videos where everybody's waiting for that last moment where they turn around and show their butt take over, and everybody wants to do it from the age of 5 to the age of 45. We got old women out here doing it.
Right. Go not in the way. Right?
And then the 45-year-olds doing it with the 5-year-old.
With the multitude to do evil. You know what I'm saying?
Madness.
So let's go to Romans 1 and verse 26. For this cause God gave them up to vile affections. This is why everybody, you know what I'm saying, wants to be TikTok famous, Instagram famous. Everybody's giving into trends. Because God said, you so worried about that, I'm going to give you up to these vile affections. Before you know it, you're going to be dyeing your hair blonde, right? I'm talking to the men. You're going to be dyeing your hair blonde. You're going to be wearing, chapstick, but it'll look like lip gloss. You're going to be getting all these different type of piercings. You're going to be wearing skinny jeans, right? You're going to be doing stuff that's effeminate, but he's going to give you up to those vile affections. You're not going to be able to tell that you look homosexual. I was watching a video and the brother said, we got to get out of that Frank Ocean spirit. Frank Ocean is actually gay. You got to get out of that spirit. But we make excuses and we say that's swag, that's drip. You know what I'm saying? Wearing stacked pants, that's cool, right? But we got to understand what's manly and what's not. Some of that stuff is effeminate and We've just been given over to vile affections because we make excuses. So he has to give us over to a reprobate mind. It says, for this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against their nature. Women walking around more manly than guys, right? Hey, look, gay women don't even wear skinny jeans, but guys wear skinny jeans, right? They don't want to show their figure off, but we want to show our figure off, sagging our pants. You know what I'm saying? We're into those vile affections till this day. We're in spiritual Sodom and Egypt, right? Let's get Salakia, Genesis 18 and 20. I got it. You got it? Yeah. All right, read that.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 18 and verse number 20.
Right, read.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous.
Right, the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great. Everybody is crying out in this place to do wickedness, right? Everybody's screaming, crying out hate speech. Everybody's screaming, I could be what I want to be. Everybody's screaming, why did God make me this way? And hey, look, it's wickedness. Keep reading.
I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know.
Right. So it's very grievous, man.
It's like I got a point too.
When
you said too.
Yeah, when you walking around, you seeing all this homosexual behavior. When you see in the news channel filled with all this filth and lies, and you see the people done elected a president that can't even think for himself. Hey, living here is very grievous. You ask yourself, is this real life? Every day you will ask yourself, something come in the news or on social media you see about a mandatory shot or a jab, and you just ask yourself, is this real life I'm living in?
It's all contradictory to the point where it's just like, how can you not see what you're supporting is in contradiction to everything that you believe in?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's grievous, man.
It really
vexation
really
of spirit.
It really is. And like you were saying, to the point of he was gonna give us over to these things, right? Give us over to OnlyFans, give us over to all these TikToks and whatnot, especially in our nation, right? It's because we went on whoring spiritually unto him. So a lot of it is just payback for what we did to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? He said, since we went a whoring on him, he was going to cause our wives, right, and our daughters to become whores, and he wasn't going to do nothing about it. Right?
Get that.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 14. Mm-hmm. I will not punish your daughters when they commit harlotry, nor your brides when they commit adultery.
Right.
For the men themselves go apart with harlots and offer sacrifices with a ritual harlot. Therefore, people who do not understand will be trampled, right? He said he was going to give this. We committed so much whoredom against him. He was like, hey, look, when your wives and your daughters want to go off, I'm not even going to give them the spirit to make them think that they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
That's why when you tell sisters to cover up nowadays, right? I can wear what I want to wear. Because the Most High took that spirit away from them, that spirit of modesty, right? That spirit of discretion.
And a lot of
to
that,
show us.
a lot of that, you know what I'm saying, comes from the parents as well. I seen a sister put on her story. She was like, hey, you gotta, you have a child that's acting up, that's rude, that's disrespectful, that just doesn't listen. Don't blame the child, blame yourself. Because a lot of that stems from your spirit. A lot of that, you was a certain way in the world, and now that you got kids, you never repented for some of them ways, and guess what? It's coming back to bite you in the butt with your own kids, right? Let's go to 1 Kings 14 and 24. This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 24. It reads, and there were also Sodomites in the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. So what are Sodomites? Sodomites are people that did the abominations. What are abominations? Stuff like eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, stuff that's abominable to you. What is abomination? Abomination is the lifestyle that you live, right? So let's get an example of Sodomites. Sodomites come from Sodom. We're in spiritual Sodom right now, so we have spiritual Sodomites, right? Keep reading. Leviticus 20 and 13.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13.
Right.
If a man also lie with mankind,
right,
as he lieth with a woman,
right,
both of them have committed an abomination.
And I think that just solidifies that nothing is new under the sun, right? And the abominations committed by the Sodomites back then are the same abominations that's being committed by the Sodomites today. And everybody will contest and everybody can agree upon that America the Great, right, is the land of LGBTQ and all the Sodomites, right? So with that, I'm going to say shalom,
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, 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 peace.